It's a bit difficult to identify all of the appropriate relevant detail when the detail continues to evolve over time. So I'd like to present you with a short video about a new feature of Insight Maker, which just happened to get implemented during the first weekend of the new year. When I talked about causal relationships, I said that you could tell the difference between a balancing and a reinforcing structure, a growth and a goal-seeking structure, based upon the number of opposite influences in the loop, so that if the number of influences is 0 or even, it's a growth loop, and if it's odd, it's a goal-seeking loop. So if you look at this, there are no opposite influences, so it's a growth loop. In this, there are 2, it's even, so it's a growth loop. In this loop, it's odd, so that it's a goal-seeking loop. Now, in these 3 loops, one doesn't have to count to figure that out. It's rather obvious by inspection. Though, when there could be multiple items in the loop and numbers of same and opposite influences, it can in fact become difficult to figure out where all the loops are. If you look at this particular structure, which none of the loops are identified, shame on me, and to go through here and figure out where all the loops are is a little difficult. Now, as it turns out, Scott implemented a tool called Identify Loops over the weekend, which walks through the structure and identifies all of the loops that are part of that structure. Now, I'm not sure what order he begins to figure them out in, but it's irrelevant. He identifies every known loop in the structure. And Insight Maker doesn't know anything about causal loop diagrams. The unintended consequence, which happens to be beneficial in this case, which almost never happens, is that because of the tendency to consistently use blue and red links for same and opposite, or adds to or subtracts from, by simply looking at the loop definitions, you can count the sequence of red ones to find out whether or not it's a balancing or reinforcing loop. So this one is, all of the ones that have none are obviously growth loops. If they have an even number, it's a growth loop. This one's a goal-seeking loop. This one's a goal-seeking loop. So it becomes very evident quickly what type of loop it is. So if you consistently color them and use the Identify Loops tool, it will help you figure out whether they're goal-seeking or growth loops. And if the thing that you think is a loop doesn't show up here, then obviously there's an arrow that's in the wrong direction or something, because Insight Maker doesn't recognize it as a loop. If we look at this one, it's, for a couple of these, it's real obvious to tell that they're loops, but some of the other ones are a bit more difficult. So if you look at Identify Loops, it will tell you where the various loops are, and they're all, I initially didn't realize that there were this many loops in that structure that I had created. And they're also not labeled, shame on me. So I thought that you would, like to know that this new resource is at your disposal, and I'll tell the Kumu people about it and see if they can come up with an equivalent, because I think it's neat. Hope you do too. See you soon in another video. Bye.